What's going on, y'all? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, y'all? So I just finally caught up with y'all. I know y'all are day ahead of me. Yeah, but whatever. So what? This episode is brought to you by the Really Hood Podcast. If you like these kind of conversations, go check it out. It's available everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, wherever. And it's also brought to you by brokenheartshirts.com. That is my clothing line website. Go check it out. All right, so we got to jump in. This episode was really insane. I know a lot of people are going to be mad with a lot I have to say. I know a lot of people are going to love what I have to say because that's how polarizing this episode was. I didn't know how to feel after watching this, but here we go. I'm just going to tell you I do apologize in advance because I don't know. I didn't even process what I just watched. I watched it and I jumped right on live. So here we go. All right. First episode is McKinley and Dominique. All right. So for those who don't know, I've already slated this couple for divorce. I just don't see it working. In fact, this episode showed me more than any other episode that this relationship is a dud. All right, several times Dominique pointed out how she is rather she even pointed it out this episode. She says she's unattracted to McKinley and the fact he doesn't really have his house situation stabilized. He's pretty new to Nashville. He lives with people. This is a recipe for disaster. If you know anything about women, you know they really like a manly man. The majority of them like a manly man. And McKinley is giving off childish vibes. She made note of the fact that he is telling constant jokes. And I didn't really know that McKinley was doing that. I felt like I saw instances of McKinley joking around, but I didn't know it was to the extent that it was a little uncomfortable. And you couple the childish behavior, the jokes, not living by yourself. These are all things that are red flags to the average woman. And when you consider that Dominique is a woman man, all right, she's a woman who takes on manly activities as if that is her law, as if that is her religion. She does horseback riding, she does fishing. So even though she's a woman, she takes on these manly activities. And as such, she wants a man to be twice the man that she is. And boy, is McKinley dropping the ball in this particular category. And this is a recipe for disaster. All right, it's not going to work. I don't care what anybody says. This relationship is done. If you've watched any of the 16 seasons of Married at First Sight, the honeymoon essentially tells you everything you need to know about this couple or about a couple. It's not going to work. All right. And to McKinley's defense, I said this before. I said this already. I said that they were playing very nice in the beginning. They were being very, very, romantic, but it was like that juvenile romanticism. And I knew this was going to happen the minute someone got uncomfortable in this relationship. And we are seeing exactly what I was talking about a long time ago. Dominique is delusional. She's delusional. All right. Or is it that she's young? And I'm not saying she's wrong. McKinley should act a little more mature. I agree. However, the way that Dominique sees the world, in my opinion, is slightly skewed. It's a little different than the average person's viewpoint of the world, in my opinion. She has strong, and when I say strong, I mean muscle bound. She has very strong opinions, which sways and steers her viewpoint of the earth and the people in it. And because of these strong viewpoints, she can easily fall out of love or fall unattracted to an individual. I think McKinley is going into this relationship more fun hearted. Like, hey, let's just have fun and relax. Whereas Dominique is going into this relationship for legacy purposes. Like she's trying to chart out her children's children, her children's children. Like she seems to be a lot more serious. But to Dominique's defense, she did state that she wanted someone mature. She said that several times in the earlier episodes. I want someone mature. And she said she's young, but she rather date older because of the maturity level of the people in her age bracket. So to her defense, she does require more. She even stated that this couple will not make it. All right, the next couple is Christopher and Nicole. I was very high on this couple in my episode 5 reaction, and boy, has that dropped. Now, if you don't know, I've already slated this couple for divorce. I don't see it working. I would argue that the biggest changes in personality happened on Nicole's part. I feel like Christopher is the usual overly sensitive individual that he's been the entire season, whereas Nicole is starting to show a little less patience. She's starting to be more what I knew she was. I knew she was not the equal of Chris. In the earlier episodes, you could have made the mistake that, hey, she's sweet as Chris. She's so nice. No, no. Nicole has these drastic swings in behavior where she's really high in terms of just not nonstop talking, just going crazy, and then she'll switch it. So I saw that. I already saw the red flags, or rather I say I saw the yellow flags a long time ago, and now they're starting to rear their head. In this episode, we get a lot of conversation about whether or not Christopher wants to have sex. And that is what I would like to ask anybody watching this after the fact. Obviously, you're not here with me live. You're not here with me live right now. The time is it's Thursday, 8:55. You're not here with me live. It's okay. All right. You subscribe. You subscribe to my channel and you're still not here. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Teach his own. But the question that is guiding this particular reaction is Chris afraid of sex? Now, there's a point in this episode where they're having a discussion, and Chris basically points out to Nicole, hey, I'm not in a rush to have sex. And he gives this big drastic explanation as to why. My past relationship, one of my relationships, I forget how long they were together. So bear with me on this. I want to say a year and a half. I do apologize if I'm wrong, but they were together for a year and a half and they had sex 3 times. Have you ever in your life heard of such a thing? Now, if you are a person that is saving yourself a marriage, obviously I'm not talking about you because Chris admitted to having sex 3 times. Look, I cannot and then he said in a separate relationship, things were different. And this caused Nicole to also open up and say, hey, in one of our relationships, we had a great sex life, but it seemed to be dependent on sex. So I gotta ask you, all right, even if you're watching this after the fact, if you made it this far in the video, you obviously are paying attention. Can you tell me, have you ever what is your opinion on Christopher? Is he afraid of sex? And if so, why? What is the and oh, I'm sorry, I'll be fair to Chris and say that he does talk about this anxiety. He talks about not feeling as if he's able to satisfy Nicole. And let me tell you, that might be a very difficult task because Nicole just seems like a straight bunny rabbit. I don't know if he has the energy to keep. I don't know. I don't want to get too gruesome on this family network. Okay. But I'm going to just say, I don't know how he's going to keep up with this woman because she just never stops. She seems to be an energizer bunny. I don't know. All right. But I will say that it did concern me a little bit. And I'm talking about Chris. He seems to have some great anxieties there, as if he's gone through some traumas in his life in terms of not being able to satisfy his partner. Why else would you have these particular thoughts in your mind? I'm afraid of doing it because I'm not sure if I can satisfy you. Like, why else would he have those inconsistencies rumbling in his brain if he had not dealt with previous traumas? And who in their right mind only has sex 3 times in a year and a half plus relationship? That just doesn't make sense. That just doesn't make sense to me. And can you tell me, all right, can you let me know why is Chris, what's the real reason that Chris is afraid to reveal himself to Nicole sexually? I have my opinions, but I'm going to save those and reserve those for my brain. But I'm going to let you say it and now just kind of click on and say, I agree. I'm going to let you say it and I'm going to agree. All right. You say it in the comment section. I'll act like I didn't know you was going to say it and I'll just go ahead and follow along with you. But no, it was definitely surprising, something that caught me off guard. And I'm also a little concerned about Nicole, the fact that now she seems to be kind of turning down in terms of her sexual prowess. She talked about wanting to get down and dirty with Chris on the second night of the honeymoon. And here we are. Nothing. I don't know. This couple is definitely showing me exactly what I knew they would, that a lot of that preliminary stuff was not quite what it appeared to be. Chris is too sensitive, ladies and gentlemen. Now, every woman hopes or thinks rather that they want a guy like Chris until they get one. You get a guy like Chris, it's like, wait, so he doesn't have a edge or an edge bone in his body. And that can be a little bit of an issue. I'm going to tell you the exact person that Chris needs to be successful in a relationship. He needs someone who is the exact same as he is. He needs a woman who is timid, but extremely respectful and lovable and is a little self conscious. He would do very well with that kind of woman. Who thought that Nicole, this over the top character, very boisterous, very confident woman, would be good for this guy? Who thought that? The experts? Good job, experts. All right. And I'm sorry, by the way, this is Chris and Nicole. I might have put the wrong picture up, I'm not sure. Or I didn't show you at all. I'm sorry. Okay, that's Chris and Nicole for those who are just watching this reaction just to kick it with your man Rick Dawn. All right, this next couple is Airris and Jasmine. By far, this couple had the biggest how would I say this? They had the biggest um uh spectrum switch. And by that I mean they went from here and they ended up down here somewhere. I feel like this couple in episode 6 had the biggest swing in outcome. Okay, now I'm going to just go ahead and talk about the one thing that stands out to me amongst all things, and that is the comments made by Airris. Airris points out that he believes that Jasmine is a 4 out of 10 in the looks department. Oh my gosh. How help me out, y'all. Help me out. Help me understand this. The woman is a beauty pageant winner, and somehow Airris is still seeing her as a 4 out of 10. Now, I'm so happy that Airris does clarify his statements. He states that I do think she's beautiful in essence. However, that's not my type. And that is a great point on the part of Airris. Though I think that Airris is just a complete tool bag and he's absolutely selfish and he's too immature to be a husband. I think that's the real issue. But I do appreciate that Airris is trying to fool the audience into thinking he's not that. Okay, Airris, for all intents and purposes, Airris is a tool bag, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm just making a clear observation. He's a tool bag, and he is nothing close to a husband. Not even close. Now, I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm not trying to be nasty here. You want to know how I'm? You know, you want to know how I know that? Because I like Airris as a person. I feel like if I saw Airris in person, I would give him a handshake and say, "Hey, man, I saw you. You know, I would kind of like joke around with him. I wouldn't, hey, you suck. I wouldn't do that. But I have to be honest, as if Airris is my friend. If I knew Airris as a person, I would say, "Hey, be careful, my friend. He's a tool bag, and he's not husband material." You know who's starting to look more and more right now? His cousin. I think his cousin was not trying to protect Airris. She was trying to protect Jasmine all along. Okay. She knew the kind of person that Airris was or is. And I think she really was trying to protect Airris from Jasmine, if that makes any sense at all. Because I think she already understood that he's a tool bag and he's not husband material. A husband is not fully predicated or doesn't base all of his attraction of his wife on how she looks. A husband adores his wife not only for her looks, but for what other contributions she brings to the table. And did anybody even think about the fact that Jasmine has about 13 dogs? So he's already not attracted to her. Now add unattraction plus 13 dogs, and what does that equal? Yeah, you got it. You said it. You said it before I said it. This couple is headed for divorce. Now, in my pre-episode, I said that they would stay married, and that is because I did not realize how big of a tool bag Airris is. Now, let me give my main man Airris a break because I feel like he's a person or tool bag that is trying to reform. Or I feel like he realizes he's a tool bag. I'm not even sure he would disagree with what I'm saying. I think he understands that is what he is. He probably wouldn't use the word tool bag. He would probably use the word player. But whatever, tomato, tomato. The point is, I think that he is starting to realize that his way of doing things has not worked and that he needs to try a different approach. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now. All right, and this is gonna sound pretty bad. Jasmine is a beautiful girl. All right, she's a beautiful girl, and I think the biggest issue is maybe her bottom row of teeth. And the reason I'm so comfortable in saying that is because before I got my teeth fixed, I had a giant gap. I had like two missing teeth on each side. And thank God I had a wife who looked past that. But I certainly could understand if she looked at my mouth and said, "This guy is not that attractive." So Jasmine is extremely attractive, but it's the bottom row of teeth that seems to be in the way of that attraction. So what Jasmine will ultimately have to do, or I think should do, this is my personal opinion. If I was able to give her consultation, like a relational consultation, I would say, Jasmine, you're absolutely gorgeous, as you know, as everyone already sees. But if you want to appeal to two bags, you're gonna have to get that bottom row teeth fixed. But on the contrary, if you want to find someone who loves you for you, just stay the way you are. You see what I'm saying? Somebody picked that up. Somebody understood exactly where I was coming from. Look, you can change yourself to fit these two bags, these two bags expectations, or you can just be yourself, and the right people will find you. But unfortunately, Jasmine was not patient in that department, which is why she's on the show in the first place. She didn't show that patience. Now, Eris also talks about never having fallen in love. And again, that is a beautiful quote directly from the Two Bag Dictionary. All right. This guy is just not husband material. And the only reason I'm grilling Eris the way that I am is because he's on a show about marriage. Marriage is not to be played with. Marriage is not a game. Marriage is not something that you do on occasion. Marriage is a lifelong commitment. And this guy is not prepared for a lifelong commitment. It's very, very insulting and upsetting because he's representing all husbands right now, and he just doesn't have the chops to do so. All right. This guy is going to essentially break this woman's heart. Now, another big swing in this particular relationship is Jasmine's urgency to have sex. Now, this was very surprising to me because for the longest time, it felt like she was playing hard to get. And this episode, we finally see that the tables have turned and that she's actually ready to get some loving in. But now Eris seems to be pulling back because again, he labels her a four. A four, like, and I gotta say this one, I'm done with this couple after this. Like Eris, he had the actual nerve to say this. He said that she probably sees me as a 12 out of 10. In Eris's brain, he believes that he's a 12 out of 10. He didn't even have the humbleness to say she probably sees me as a 9 out of 10. He says that she sees him as a 12 out of 10. So that tells you the mindset of this individual. He is a narcissist. I'm not a feminist, and I'm not bashing him because he says something. No, I'm just saying, based on observation, he's a narcissist. He's an individual who thinks that everything revolves around him. And he still hasn't learned at the age of 39 that that type of mindset only begets loneliness. Yes, it's cute right now because you're 39 and you've retained a lot of your young charm as a result of not eating bacon, which I love. But that's not the point. Here's the problem, Eris. When you get to about, let's go 51, you're going to be the exact same person in the exact same space until you realize you're a shallow individual and that you need to change some things. You got to change some things. If you don't change, you'll get the exact same results. That's a fact. All right. So anyway, I'm done because I feel like I'm being real harsh, and I like Eris. The problem is I'm just offended that he's on a show about marriage. Now, if Eris was on Love Island, if Eris was on Love Below or some little love dating show, I would be Team Eris. But you're on a show about marriage, and marriage, if you're doing so with a pastor, you're doing so with regards to holy matrimony. You're making a vow to God. And if you know anything about me, you know I don't play with that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that he shapes up because I said that this couple will stay married, but that's because I didn't realize how immature the man or this man was at all. Had no clue. I thought he was a man, but he's really just a 39-year-old teenager. All right, here we go. The next couple is Clint and Gina. Woo! All right, here we go. I thought this episode was already getting too long until I ran into this couple, and now I'm like, I'm gonna try to keep this short because it's a lot here. It's a lot of meat on the bone. But let me jump right in. First off, was Clint wrong for his comments? If you don't know what happened, Gina has been dogging Clint out since day one. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not attracted to redheads. I'm not attracted to gingers. And Clint, for the most part, has been grinning and bearing all these insults. And she has not taken even a second to realize that she's absolutely being disrespectful to Clint. So what happens? Clint finally, after insult after insult after insult about the way he looks, finally tells her, hey, you're not my type either. Now, help me understand. How is Clint wrong in this situation? I need someone to tell me because I'm just not understanding. I'm just not getting it. Clint has been disrespected. Now, okay, fine. If you want to say they're both wrong, I'll give you that. But if you're trying to tell me that Clint is wrong and Gina is right, BS, baloney, bullcrap, not believing you. How can you tell someone that you're not attracted to that type of individual? I'm not attracted to the way your hair looks. I'm not attracted to the way you look. And when they say I'm not attracted to the way you look, how is that person wrong and you're not? You got to help me understand because I believe that Clint is completely justified in his comments. And I love the way that he clarifies his statements and saying that, look, I did not intend to be disrespectful. Now, I'm a decent read of person, meaning I can tell if a person is being genuine or not very easily. And in this situation, Clint is completely genuine in his points in stating that I was not trying to be offensive. I was simply stating that this is what I typically go for. Now, they were in an open setting, and I believe that Clint was completely justified in making the statements that he made because he was doing so in an open and honest way. Now, Clint is obnoxious as obnoxious can be. And here is why. Because he doesn't have a filter. If Clint were to invest in a filter, he would be a much, much better catch. The problem is Clint doesn't understand the concept of quietness. He doesn't understand the concept of proofreading, which you're going to say in the open environment for all to hear. He hasn't understood or he doesn't understand that particular concept. He will be amazing as a shock jock radio DJ. Like he definitely going to give you some sound bites. He said several things in episode 6 that could completely derail the average individual. But in this particular case, Gina versus Clint, in that debate, I'm team Clint because I feel like he only did what she did. See, I'm a big advocate for anyone who gives people what they give to them. Right? If you keep punching the little guy, keep punching the little guy, keep punching the little guy, and then finally the little guy grabs a hammer and slams you on your big toe, I can completely rationalize with the little guy because you've been picking on this guy for so long, and he's only giving you a taste of your own. Here it is, your own medicine. I am completely in agreement with anybody who takes that approach. It's like an eye for an eye almost. Now, with that being said, we know, and I should say Clint should know that when it comes to weight, that is a very, very tricky topic that you have to navigate carefully when you're talking about women, if you're in a room full of women. And I think that he missed that particular class. He was absent on that day when that conversation went out amongst the male population. But I'm just trying to understand, and I'm trying to understand this as well. Would I have seen Clint's actions different if I were a female? Is it because I'm a man and I'm looking at Clint's actions and behaviors from a male perspective, which gives me so much leniency for Clint? And I guess what I'm still finding hard to believe for the woman who is absolutely angry at Clint right now, why are you not mad at Gina? There has to be at least one woman watching me right now and just absolutely disgusted because I'm siding with Clint. Well, to that individual, to that woman, to that queen, can you tell me what was different about what Clint said that Gina did not say? Let me ask you this too. No. Let me go. Let me finish. I let you speak. Let me speak. How did you, or why are you not upset with Gina when she called him ugly? That's what she did. She called him ugly. And even Eris, the tool bag himself, was able to pick up on this. He said it while he was talking to Jasmine. He said, well, basically, they just called each other ugly. No, he's still wrong. No, Gina called him ugly first. And that put Clint on the defensive. And it made Clint look at her like, wait a minute. I'm being called ugly. Let me look and see what I'm not even attracted to her either. So Clint responded. Had Gina been more respectful and said, hey, I think you're a decent looking guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've dated this kind of guy. I've dated this kind of guy. But I actually see you as someone, that's pretty cool. If she was more positive, then I think Clint would have had the same reservations. Said, wait a minute, I don't want to be disrespectful and rude. I think Clint said, hey, you've already hit me below the belt. I might as well just go. It's all gloves off at this point. I think that Clint was being very, very, very democratic in the beginning of the marriage. He was very respectful, very reserved. Okay, the Clint that we wish we had now, he was already that. And the problem is, she beat that Clint to the floor. And Clint is not Chris. He's not someone who's going to try to cuddle you and make you feel comfortable. Clint is Clint. All right, Clint is Clint. That's the best I can tell you. And she absolutely showed Clint the type of behavior or the type of verbiage that she respects, because that's what she was, pushing forth. I'm the kind of person like Clint to some degree. I'll treat you the way you treat me. If you treat me with respect, I'll give you respect. But the minute you show me you're not a respectful person, I'm like, all right, well, cool. I don't got to be this little filtered version of myself. Since you're already disrespectful, let's go there. And sometimes I'll take it way further than the other person took it. They'll take it to like a 7. I'm like, well, that's a lot of disrespect. A 7 out of 10 of disrespect? Well, fine. I might just go to 11. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I understand Clint. And speaking of Gina, how many times can she talk about her business? They have shown her to be extremely shallow in the realm of conversation. I'm not going to say she's shallow as a person, but the edit, because I'm not saying she is this way, but she seems to be extremely narcissistic and extremely self-centered, as in she doesn't think about anybody else but herself. I know a lot of people like this. And this is why, again, I side with Clint. I think they're both just bad for each other. I'm not sure who would work for Gina. I'm just not sure. I think Gina should have married a hair booth. That's the best. That's her dream husband. A freaking hair booth. A chair, the chair that you do hair in. That's her husband. And Clint should have married a yacht. That would have been a match made in heaven for both of these couples. Bringing them together is going to take a lot of maturity, and I'm just not sure they have it. We got to keep something in perspective. There's a reason that all these people are on this show. They're not couple material. They're not marriage material. Okay, they're just not. And what's happening is these experts are jamming these people who have not had any training in being a husband or wife, and they're just jamming together. What needs to happen moving forward is they need to take these people through a relationship school, through a marriage school. What are you going to do when this happens? What are you going to do when that happens? They almost need therapy or counseling prior to being selected for anybody on the show. And after the counseling sessions, plural, you give these people a grade and you say, whoever has a C or higher or B or higher, we will match them. Because if they had done that, they would have spotted the fact that Gina can be a little self-centered. They would have spotted the fact that Clint has zero filter. And these individuals would have maybe not even made it to the show. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem. All right, anyway, the final couple that I want to talk about is Shaquille and Kirsten. This couple also took a drastic drop, and I don't know how it happened. I'm going to tell you my opinions, and I know what it seems like. It seems like I'm completely on the guys' bandwagon, but that couldn't be true because I think McKinley and I think Christopher dropped the ball for the guys. I think Eris dropped the ball for the guys. So clearly that's not true. But I will say this, Shaquille is up to his limit with dealing with Kirsten. And this happens a lot more than people realize. Guys put themselves second to make their woman happy, and then their woman is not satisfiable. And as such, even the best kinds of guys, they realize I cannot satisfy this woman. So therefore, I am just going to act out. And I'm telling you right now, Shaquille is just a moment or two from giving up on Kirsten. And that is despite how beautiful she might be. Okay, how beautiful she might be. All right, he is up to his limit because Kirsten is pushing and pushing and pushing. And you know why she's pushing? Because she doesn't like this guy. That is why she is settling, and this is a terrible, terrible feeling for her. And here's my pushback against my own self. Yes, Rick the Dawn, she is settling. But Rick the Dawn, can you tell me this? Why did she come on this show if she had it like that? If she can pick her, if she has her choice of man and she can pick whoever she want, then why is she on the show? And this is the problem that I have. You have these people on this show who pretend and act as if they're greater than thou, like they're God's gift to men and women, but they're on the show. You know what would have been a funny couple? Eris and Kirsten. They should just put them together. Since the experts already are doing a terrible job, why not put Eris and Kirsten together so we can see whose ego is the biggest? Why not? And why not put a guy like Shaquille with Jasmine? They both seem to be very, very mellow and or people rather that want to please their mates at all costs. Kirsten is about to fall to pieces, trying to not Kirsten, but Shaquille is about to fall to pieces trying to satisfy this woman, and she's not satisfiable. That's a fact. And I'm just tired of the shenanigans because she keeps coming across as if she has it all figured out. But sweetheart, you're on Married at First Sight because you can't figure it out. And she keeps coming across as if she has all these expectations. It's like, if you're that good of a catch and you know exactly how this all works, then why are you on this show? I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'm not sure if you can tell. Now, to push back against myself, I'm going to say Shaquille does need to calm down. Let me tell you where all the jokes are coming from. All the jokes are coming from the fact that he's nervous. He's not dated a woman who looks like this in his life. Okay? This is another problem. You got to make it make sense, experts. You can't put a guy who's never had a woman that looks this way and give him this kind of woman and expect him to figure it out. He's just not prepared. He has to have a woman. He has to be accustomed to dating these type of women. He's just never had it. And I'm going to say the same in reverse. Kirsten is not accustomed to dating a guy who doesn't put his looks first. Now, we understand that he puts his suits first, but I'm talking about his physical makeup. I just think this is a bad match. Now, I will say on record, I've already said that they'll stay married, and I still believe they will, but it's going to take a lot of work on the side of Kirsten because she's very materialistic. Okay, she's very it's all about beauty for her, and she has to realize that beauty is vain. And what I mean by that is, when you get older, Kirsten, when you're 45, when you're 62, you don't want the most beautiful man. That it's not going to do you any good. You want the man or the individual with the best heart, someone who is respectful, someone who is a good father, a good role model, and that's exactly who Shaquille is. Okay, he's a businessman. He seems to be very oriented in the field of education. What are you complaining about? What are you complaining about? The fact that he likes to joke around? So you want a guy that's always serious? Okay, got it. But like I said, I'm still gonna push back against myself, even though I like Shaquille and he's proven to me that he's a decent person. I didn't like Shaquille in the beginning. Go watch the earlier reactions. I didn't like him, but he's proven to me that he is a heck of a guy. He's a heck of a catch, and a lot of women will be very happy to take a guy just like him, no changes, scar and all. Okay, because let me tell you something. If Kirsten doesn't recognize what she has, his DM is going to be very full on Instagram. If she don't figure out what she has, she has a good guy. Look, a lot of times people they expect to get a 10 out of 10 when they meet someone or when they marry somebody. No, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get somebody that's in progress. You're going to get somebody that's a 7, somebody that's a 6. And if they're not at least that, then why in the heck are you marrying them in the first place? All right. The goal of marriage, right? In my personal opinion, this is definitely an opinion. The goal of marriage is not to get a person that's perfect. It's to get someone that checks off as many of your criteria boxes as possible. If you go down and get some paper and pen and you write down all the things you're looking for in a mate, and let's say this list consists of 25 things. Good job, good this, good that, no kid. It got 25 things on it. Your goal is not to get all 25. And I think there are people on this universe who write a list like that and they expect to get all 25 checks before they find somebody that they're in love with. No, that's not how it works. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not. The way it works is, of those 25, try to get someone that meets about 17, right? I mean, when you first meet them, they already check off about 17 boxes. 17 for 25. I'm not sure what the percentage of that is, but I'll tell you this, it's decent. It's above average. And once you get those 17 boxes, you know what you do? You work on that individual with regards to those additional 8 boxes. Okay, they're missing 8 boxes out of the 25. Okay, those are the boxes that you work with them on as it relates to the marriage. Okay, if you're married to that person for 10 years, the expectation is of those 8 boxes that they're missing, you can get at least 4 of them filled. Okay, and God willing, by the time you get to you're about 20, 30 years in marriage, you figured out those other 8 boxes, right? But you're not going to meet somebody that with all 25 boxes. You need to find somebody with at least 15, 17, 19, and if you're blessed, 20, 21 perhaps. And then the marriage itself is the process of filling those additional boxes. And this is why a lot of marriages don't work. This is why a lot of people don't get married, because they have this superficial understanding of what a relationship is. You're not going to find a perfect person. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you yourself are not perfect. We are not perfect beings, right? We're imperfect. It's a fact. I said imperfect, and the word is imperfect. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Nobody's perfect. So you're trying to find somebody with as many boxes as checked as possible. Sometimes when you're dating somebody, you find somebody with 6 out of 25 boxes. You know what you do with those guys? You throw them back in the ocean. Wrong person. Find somebody with at least 10 or more, 15 or more, something to that caliber. And then you work on via marriage. Okay, via marriage, you work on those boxes that they're missing. Because guess what? I got a surprise for you. You're also missing boxes that they would like to have checked off. That's what this marriage is about. And here's the thing about Kirsten. She has not conceived, does not understand that she has boxes missing too. I'm out.